Hi, and welcome in. Well, a few days ago, the delivery man came by the house and dropped by this package. I think it's my next project. Let's take a look. In the box was Takom's T55 AMV, and like every kid in a candy store, I totally rummaged through the package to see what's inside and take a look at the contents. But this T55 project isn't just about the Takom T55 because, well, a couple years ago I started another T55 project that I never really completed, really didn't even get started on. And so I have a whole lot of goodies from that project that I want to incorporate into this new project. I've got some Fruel tracks. Let's see, I've got a whole lot of photoetch sitting in here. Actually, some of the photoetch I actually had started before, so there's actually complete pieces already soldered together, so that might be helpful. Not sure. And as you might be able to tell here, the first project was going to be an Iraqi situation. Well, this one's going to be a little bit different, but there might be some parts in here, especially some of those resin pieces, that might come in handy. We'll see how this goes and what I can use. With all these goodies comes, well, all these instructions. A lot to keep track of here, so I'm going to have to keep myself a little bit organized. The T55 in this project is going to be focused on the AMISOM campaign, or the African Union mission in Somalia. As you can see from these reference photographs, these vehicles took quite the beating, and they're going to make perfect modeling references. I particularly like this last vehicle, just showing all the ERA blocks that have been knocked askew. So this is going to be a fun project, so let's get going. I think it's fairly obvious that this is going to be a little bit longer and maybe even a little bit more complicated project than just, say, from out of the box. So rather, the focus of this episode and the upcoming episodes will be about just some things that I've done that will enhance or change the base kit in order to make it closer to what the references have shown. Well, one of the first things I noticed when I'm looking at those reference images is how many of the ERA blocks are either missing or askew. The blocks in the kit come as pieces, so multiple blocks together, and I needed to separate those, which I did with a hobby knife, and then the edges or the sides of those I just filled in with a little bit of plastic stock. And with just a little bit of pressure, I was able to bend the bracket on the front hole just to indicate some damage. In terms of just construction, the running gear comes next, and of course that means road wheels, and we all love our road wheels, don't we? At least it's not a Tiger or a Panther, so there's not quite as many, but the same process. Clip them off, sand them back, and of course on these vehicles they're going to be pretty beat up, so a little bit of nicking and cutting with the hobby knife and sanding back with the sanding stick just to make them look like they have some wear. This is a nicely detailed kit and includes flame cuts along the side of some of the armor plates. I took a little time to enhance some of those and add a few that were missing. Next, I add just a little bit of texture using Mr. Surfacer 500, just a light stippling motion over the surface just to give it a little bit of extra character. And you can go over this a few times if you want to roughen up the texture a little bit. And all those holes on the front plate, well, those are drilled out for location points for the ERA blocks. And here's our first touch of photo etch, and well, believe me, there's going to be a lot of photo etch in this project. These are the photo-etched engine deck screens. They're kit supplied, and they look great. Nobody likes the look of a model more than I do of just shiny brass. But the issue with a screen or a mesh is that when it comes time to painting, in order to cover up all that nice shiny brass, you have to put so much paint on it that it clogs up the mesh itself, and that's super unsightly. So what I found is that if you soak them or treat them with metal burnishing fluid, turn them a dark color first, then you don't have to worry about painting those areas, and it keeps them open. So let's talk about the nice rear of this tank. It's really not a big deal, but this is one area where I thought Takom might have let us down a little bit, took the easy way out. In particular, the unditching log. They provided it as a single piece, brackets and log included. Well, for my purposes, that's not what I need. Whereas Tamiya have them as separate parts. You got your brackets and then you have your log. It just gives you more flexibility. What all this means is that I need to scratch build a little bit of the rear plate. And I'll be doing more of this later, but here's the start. To begin, some of the location holes are filled in with plastic strip. Thin pieces of plastic tube are also used, and these are then cut in half, and these become some of the curved pieces of the bracket for the unditching lug. In terms of the instructions, the next steps involved adding the fenders to the model. And of course the kit fenders are going to fit perfectly, but from my box of shame, I want to try to use these Aber photoetch fenders, and I have no idea if they're going to fit, as they were made for the Tamiya kit. In theory, of course, the answer would be yes, but you just never know. But I am actually very, very impressed and very surprised and very pleased that yes, it does fit, or I can make it fit. So let's keep moving forward. Of course, now there's an issue that, well, the kit part has tabs that insert into these slots, and of course the photoetch doesn't have that advantage. And so the easy solution is simply to make some tabs for the photoetch to rest upon. Just a quick measurement of the width of the slot, and then I'll cut a strip out of this plastic card. And if you saw my prior video on scratch building, which I'll link up in the corner up here, you don't have to cut all the way through. You just have to score the plastic and it will snap and break. I then cut small tabs using the chopper, and then these are glued into the slots. I have some nice resting places or platforms for which I can glue onto the photoetch. I'm not going to do that now because, well, there's a lot of work to do and I don't want to just keep banging these up. Speaking of a lot of work to do, the next video is going to be very much concentrated on working with photoetch. So we'll do some soldering, we'll do some cutting, we'll do some bending, and we'll do the other fender, and we'll do all the fender boxes as well. So there's a lot to do still, but I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. Let me leave you with a few parting shots of where we stand at the moment. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll be back very soon with the next episode, and we'll continue on. Thanks a lot.